Okay, Valerie Backer. Is it easy to lend camping equipment like a tent for a couple of days? All right, I don't think that's something we really ever tried to actually rent this kind of equipment. But if you are considering this for like doing great walks and stuff like that, usually the hostels which are located in area where the great walk starts actually have heaps of equipment. We can't really tell you what kind of equipment you will have and what kind of shape they're going to be, but let's take the example of the Tongariro crossing, for example. The Tongariro crossing is probably one of the most popular great walk in the country. And in winter, when you stay in any hostels around, you'll be able to hire like waterproof pants and big waterproof boots as well as, you know, like the big jackets and all of that. So you can literally hire clothes to do those. So definitely some of the hostels will have the camping equipment available for you to hire. Now, if you're thinking about hiring camping equipment when renting cars, because you're going to be traveling around and you're going to rent a car for that, then you can get that as an add-on with a lot of different, rental companies. Usually, you won't have the tent add-on when you have a camper van because, you know, you already sleep in the camper van. But if you rent a car, you will be able to do like a car plus tent combo. There is a ton of companies that do that. You know, the first that comes to mind is Wanderlust Campers, which actually have a combo tent plus car, which is really handy. You just get all of that, you get all of that together and pish pash posh, you're all sorted and you're ready to go for a bit of a road trip. But yeah, renting in New Zealand is rather easy. There's plenty to do. But the thing is, there is a ton of stores like Mountain Warehouse or Torpedo 7s or any of that where you can buy tents, or even literally a store like the Warehouse or Kmart, which are like really in the cheap end, where you can buy a tent for like under $100. So sometimes it may be worth to just buy one which is slightly bit cheaper, but you just use it for like 2-3 days. If you just want them for 2-3 days or 4 or 5, you keep them for the rest of your trip and then you give it to another backpackers when you leave, or you just sell it for $20. And that may be even a cheaper option. So renting camping equipment in New Zealand, fairly easy if you are near one of the Great Walk and you go through one of the hostels. If you're traveling when renting a vehicle, fairly easy as well. They will obviously try to sell you as many add-ons as possible, but also consider buying the cheap end of those equipments. So you just have them for a little bit and then after you just pass them on to the next backpacker, because quite often that's going to be cheaper than renting it. Because, like as a company, I wouldn't rent you something for less than $50. Otherwise, it's not worth for me the whole hassle. So, if it's $50 or you can buy it for 80, you may as well buy it for 80 and have a bit more flexibility.
Yeah. I think if you're getting a tent because you want to use it as your accommodation option, if you're staying in campsites and stuff, it is definitely worth buying a tent for yourself. But if you wanted to actually just get a tent because you want to do some multi-day hikes around New Zealand, then I think you'll find that it's actually not worth hiring tent equipment, and it's actually more worth getting a hut pass, because there's loads of different Department of Conservation huts, which are they're pretty basic sort of, little huts with bunk beds, and you just need to bring your own sleeping bag. They might have a few, maybe gas stoves and stuff, but not always. So you might need your own, camping stove or whatever. But yeah, I think, I know for me, myself, I did actually buy a tent for coming to New Zealand, but realized I didn't actually need to use it at all. I think
how many times you use it?
0. I haven't used it because it's actually so well accommodated around multi-day hikes around New Zealand, because they do have these dock huts which cost, on the Great Walks, they cost about 32 New Zealand dollars. On some of the lesser known walks, they'll cost much less. And if you weigh up the cost of renting a tent then you got to still pay to go in a campsite around these walks, then it sort of adds up to the total of a hut. So you might as well sleep in a hut. You won't have to carry your tent around. I just think maybe unless you're buying a tent to use as accommodation as you're traveling around New Zealand, there's not really much point in getting a tent, in my personal opinion anyway.
But some people like the tenting experience, so that's why she was saying maybe a couple of days. But anyway, let us know if that's what you wanted to know, Valerie. Follow-up questions down in the comment below, or if you're watching a rerun of that, down in the comment below. If you have any follow-up questions, guys, we're always happy to answer questions.